Hey there, John Shorby here from ReallyEasyGuitarLessons.com, and in this video lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play the rhythm guitar parts to the song Crying Shame by an Australian band called the Teskey Brothers. One of my students, Rich, introduced me to this song and this band, and it is really good. Never would think that they're from Australia with the way they sing and play. They're very bluesy, very soulful. This is a great song. It's a 12-bar blues. With some cool little rhythm, rhythm ideas and little tricks. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about the rhythm. I'll do the lead in a separate video. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to start with is the motif of the song. The very first measure contains the whole rhythm motif. So this is in the key of A, and essentially the way you want to look at it is you have your A bar chord. Right, and that's going to be our root, and he's going to do this, do a little rhythm chop, and then do a fill up here in the A major pentatonic, what I call box 2. There's the root note. Right, so he's working down in this zone. So it's like he plays the chord, and then he plays a little fill up here, and then kind of the way he does it, there's like a standard motif that he does. It's a very call and response. He's got a standard motif in the first measure, and then he follows it with something very similar with a slight little variation. So I'll talk about the kind of variations as we go. But we want to make sure that we get the motif first. So let's just take a listen to it, and I'll play along with it, and I'll break it down. All right, so again, starting out, think about your A bar chord. There's your root. It just starts on just the note, followed by a chop, muted strings. I'm achieving that just by lightly dampening the strings with my fretting hand. No pressure. If you add pressure, you get sound. We want that damped chucka. All right, damped chuck. All right, and then we're coming up here to the 7th fret. It's a little double stop with the first finger, so my index finger is on the A and the D string. But really, it's about getting to that 9th fret note on the A string, and you want that sound. On the tab, when you see these little little numbers, right? When you see little numbers on a tab, that means that they're called grace notes. They're there kind of like as a pickup note to the actual note, which is right there. So we have, and then you come off of that and you play the 7th fret of the A string. Okay, now here's the trickiest part. This 9th fret is the only upstroke in this whole measure, in this whole kind of motif. It's here, and the way I hear it and I do it, I should probably change the notation on the tab now that I'm thinking about it, is it's a little rake upstrum. You don't just upstrum the note. You want to rake into the note, and you do that by using your fretting hand to mute the strings that are before it. So you get this that kind of sound. Like that, grum. Okay, and then you go back to that little double stop thingy with the hammer on, play that note, and then you're gonna slide downwards back to the 7th fret. Okay, so like I said, that's the motif, that's the basis of the song, and kind of the way it unfolds, you do it just like that for the first measure, kind of like the call, and then this next measure is the response. It's similar, right? Starts with the root note, has the muted chunk, but then the back end fill, as you see with the way I lay the tab out, it changes slightly. Okay, so you know, it depends on how note for note you want to go here. If you want to match every little thing that's on the recording, then we'll follow the tab, and I'll point it out, you know, what's being played in what measure. But if you're just playing for your, you know, own enjoyment, if you're playing to a backing track and not the original recording, and you just want to mess around, feel free to do so. Do the motif and then add a little sprinkle of, you know, bluesy improvisation on the back half of that second measure, right? But I'm gonna go through this pretty much verbatim with what, you know, what they played. Okay, so let's take a listen to this second measure. Just get that in your ear. So this one here, the tricky part of it is when that little thing starts. If you listen to the metronome with where this fill comes in on the first measure, it's right there. And then on the second, it's a half a beat later. It's an eighth note later, okay? So get that in your ear. I'll loop that again. Okay, so again, mute, root note, mute, and then he kind of hits it an extra string there as he does that little hammer on, and then you're catching just the D string, back to the A string, grace note hammer on thing, 7th fret, and then now you're on the A string, sliding to the 7th fret. Okay, and then we get to the third measure, same as the first, motif, and then now this back half has got a different fill. That's a very Hendrix, it's all very Hendrixy. Okay, so that's on the D and the G string now, where you do the hammer-on thing, 7th fret D, 9th fret A, hammer-on thingy on the A, 7th fret A, slide down. There it is. Okay, and the band kicks in here on the 5th measure. Take a listen to that. Motif, and then we got a new one. This one, let's listen to that. Okay, that's all that one is. Just doing that double stop thingy. And then getting back to the root. And then here, the last two measures, we got a little build up before the verse starts. All right, then we get into the first verse where it gets a little more standard when he's singing. Obviously, when you're singing and playing guitar, and I believe the rhythm guitar player of this band is also the singer, you tend to play a little less. You're not going to do you're going to do the same things over and over again to make it easy on yourself. Okay, so the way the verse breaks down, you have your motif on the first half, and then it's very simple on the back half. He's just doing these little chord stabs. Like 9th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D and the G. So you can play around with that, right? Doing little rhythmic variations. Okay, so for the first two measures, we've got. And that's a crying, crying, okay, and then again, your next two measures, a little bit different at the end of it. Okay, and then it's changing to the 4 chord here. Again, it's a 12-bar blues, so this is where it goes to the 4 chord, which is the D. And all he's doing here on that D is the same idea as he does on the A. He's just doing it on different chords. So now the root note is the 5th fret of the A string. You mute, and then now your double stop thing is it's not on the A and the D, it's on the D and the G. All right, and then your up rake is on 9 of the A, back to 7 back to the hammer-on thingy, 7 of the D, and then now you slide out to 7 of the A. So it's really just moving everything down a string. All right, and then again on the back half, on the second part of the response, he's just got a chord fragment here of the 9th fret of the D string, 7th fret of the G string. And then he gets back to an A. Same idea, right? You have your motif, little different fill here, which is pretty much the same-ish as the first part. Again, it's similar. You can be really nitpicky here if you want to be, again, in terms of going for note accuracy to the recording. I like to paint with broad brush strokes. All right, so that's what you're at the A, and then you got the E. So it's the 5 to the 4. Again, the E is the same idea as the D, just moving everything up. So now I'm on the 7th fret with my root, mute, and then 9 of the D and the G. Do the hammer-on thing to 11. Back to here. Sorry, let's go back to D, so you're sliding all the way down to 7 to get to the 5th fret of the D string for the back half. And then you've got your motif and then another little build-up thing as it goes to the second verse. So I'm going to play all of verse 1, and you can hear what it sounds like.
Oh, you just blame me to the woman, and that's a crying, crying shame. You just blame me to the woman, and that's a crying, crying shame. I've been crying with the pain.
Okay, and then your second verse, again, is same as the first. A couple of those fills are going to be different, so if you want to look at the tab and figure out what those are, feel free. Again, you could paint with broad brush strokes. And then for the solo section, the rhythm guitar part is just doing a couple of different chords. So we've got a B minor 7, bar chord. And then, so you play, the rhythm trick here is you play the chord with then you play mute afterwards. So chord, mute, and then it changes to an F sharp minor 7, chord, mute, back to B minor 7, chord, mute, F sharp minor 7, chord, mute, and then B minor 7, F sharp minor 7, B minor 7, C sharp minor 7, and then before it builds back up, you're gonna go to a D bar chord on the 5th fret of the A, to an E7, and then hit that 3 times, and then it's gonna stop, and then come into a little break, which is just your motif, again, hanging out in A, 4 measures, and then you got back to your third verse, same idea, 12-bar blues, follow the formula, 4th verse, 12-bar blues, follow the formula, And then when it ends, it doesn't end on the 12th bar. It ends on the 4 chord. So it's like the 4th verse gets 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of the 1, 2 bars of the 4, 2 bars of the 1, and then it cuts the turnaround short by 2 bars. Ends on the 4 chord, okay? I will play, let's see, I'll do from the solo, and I'll run through a solo, break, 3rd verse.
And you chill up just like a game. You're just like a little child, and you chill up just like a old man. But you never really loved me, honey. That's why I'm crying with the rain.
All right, that's it for this video lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. I will do the lead in a separate video. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.